Welcome into
Episode 10!
Season 1,
10.
Episode 10.
10. Like, subscribe, hit the button!
Getting excited about like Cobra Kai getting ready to come out.
Can we, I don't know what you just said.
Miyagi-Do.
I don't know what that means, but
Did you not watch Karate Kid?
Wax on, wax off?
Yeah, hello.
Can we, for episode 12, can we play Oh, we're halfway there. Whoa.
It's called Living on a Prayer.
Yeah, we have to play that song every time we drive to Michigan and Cincinnati because that's a halfway point. So my 7-year-old knows. Like, Mom, can we listen to the Halfway There song? Anyway, so we're almost to the halfway point of season 1 of Cashin
And you wonder why I
The
have
Check.
to do meditation doing this podcast.
Right. I'm good energy.
She is a lot. It's just...
It's good energy. Woo, woo.
I'm waiting for you to get the ducks in a row.
Oh, well, you got to tell me when to do it, so that
We've been doing this for 10 episodes. Like, this should not be,
So I'm ready to do it. And
get your ducks in a row. The job posting for a new co-host is still on Indeed, if in case anybody's wondering.
Wait. They do much better duck call than I do. Okay. So I just got one, good one today.
It better be like fall out on the floor good.
It's going to be like mic drop. It's a little story. Tom had this problem of getting up late in the morning and was always late for work. His boss was mad at him and threatened to fire him if he didn't do something about it. So Tom went to his doctor, who gave him a pill and told him to take it before he went to bed. Tom slept well and, in fact, beat the alarm in the morning. He had a leisurely breakfast and drove to work cheerfully. Boss, he said, the pill actually worked. That's all fine, the boss said. But where were you yesterday? I told you it was maybe a good one. So.
Oh, my goodness. Talking about not being at work, I think our next episode after this, we're going to talk about not being at work.
Not being at work. But today we have a guest.
We have another guest. This is like a triple play with guests,
Yeah, I know. I think I do it. Are you really trying to replace my seat?
They're still posting for a co-host on Indeed.
Indeed.com. But no, I think we've had some good.
Yeah, I love the mix just because you get different inputs on business.
But nobody's as good. Nobody's as good as me. We'll just leave it at that.
It's going to get us on to the big picture with my friend Dee Prince. Talk about HR.
He's no stranger behind a microphone. Let me tell you.
He is not.
Google him. I think he's got some music videos out there. He's got some stories to tell. Maybe you'll touch on that today.
Well, I'm just going to remind you, guess what?
I'm in his seat.
You're in his seat. So let's listen to see what Dee has to say, and we'll be back to drink the Kool-Aid. Welcome into this week's Big Picture. I'm very excited to have a good friend of mine, Dee Prince, here. He's going to talk about HR, and I know that sometimes this is a theme, especially in small businesses, that really gets overlooked.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of the business owners, they take care of it themselves.
Yeah.
So at what point does a small business owner look to maybe outsource HR? What's some advice you would give? So we're going to jump all into that.
Right.
You ready?
Absolutely.
All right.
First and foremost, I want to say thanks for having me. Because I only know you in that aspect of either basketball or just small business, just hustling. That's what you do.
That's what I do.
I just want you to know you're very good at your job.
I appreciate that.
That's why I have not fired you yet or put in any type of paperwork to fire you.
Oh, good gravy.
Yeah.
When you work next door to the HR guy, you always have to keep him. His
That's what
office
happens.
is literally through my wall.
Yeah.
So
It's literally through your wall.
I think they did that to keep me in check.
I did, so I can hear all your conversations. So I'm just kind of don't say the wrong thing because HR is listening. But yeah, so let me answer your question with kind of a setup. You've got a lot of small businesses out here, and of course, you've got under 50 employees in many cases. You may just have one person. The importance of having HR is to stay in compliance. And I say compliance all the time because compliance is doing the right things the right way all the time. The right things to say, the right things to do, the way that you carry your business and the perception that your business dealings have in the community You've heard a lot of people, there's a Better Business Bureau.
Right.
You hear a lot of people say, well, these people do shady business. And all of that boils down to if your HR and your HR department, no matter how big, no matter how small your business is, if you're taking care of your HR business.
Correct.
So it's extremely important for small businesses to find some type of outlet resource to be able to know what the proper things to have, proper documentation to have, and proper operations in accordance with dealing with the public.
Let me ask you this. How important do you think it is for a small business to have a handbook?
It's extremely important for a small business to have a handbook because that's your reference guide. Everybody, even in life, we've got a reference guide. We've got the Bible. In every aspect, you should have some type of reference guide to go back to what your visions, your vision, your mission statement, all these different things that go along with how your business is set up. You've got to have something in writing that can prove, hey, we actually know what we're doing and we're working towards something. If not, then you start getting into what is this business really about?
Right.
Is it a front for something else? And you start getting all of those questions that start to come into play about the perception of how you're running your business.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Let's say you got a small business owner who's listening to our podcast and they're like, man, what's 3 things that I should be implementing right now? Like,
right.
What's some things, if they were here, you'd be like, hey, you need to make sure you're doing this, this, and this. And what are those 3 things?
Right. So the 3 things I would say, number 1 would be having the correct documentation. Having the supportive documentation. One thing that you should definitely have that I tell people all the time, it goes along the lines of a handbook, but it's also the SOPs or standard operating procedures. How we do things, the way that we do things, and what even, I guess, departments or what areas of the business take care of what. Just as something as small as janitorial services, you're not going to have, if you've got 2 people, as far as janitorial services, you even want that outlined, that we're going to have, housekeeping come in on Mondays and Wednesdays or whatever
right.
it may be. So if you decide to expand, you don't have to start all over again. You've got everything right there. Another thing that I would make sure that you have is the documentation of your hiring documentation, your orientation documentation, which of course is standard is your W-4, your I-9s. Your W-4 is the information that you fill out where it says, how many deductions and all that
right.
other good stuff like that, whether you want $10 taken out of your
You got to
check.
make sure you pay your favorite uncle.
Yeah, you got to have that. And then of course your I-9 makes sure that everybody's legal in that, working in a legal capacity. You
right.
absolutely have to have that if you have employees. And then the third thing, to be honest with you, is exactly what we've mentioned already, is an actual handbook with a vision statement, or with a vision, a mission statement, and all of those things. And I think that they should go even further and have those posted somewhere, somehow. You've got to have your compliance with Title VI and all that, all those things, that you don't discriminate off of race, gender, and
right.
so on and so forth. So those are the 3 things that I think any business should have and should start with.
How well should, this is maybe kind of going in a different rabbit hole, but how well should HR and your accountant work together? Because to me, I feel like there's a lot of, one could mess up and it could cause a huge...
Yeah. There's extreme overlap with finance, payroll, and HR, because they kind of delve into the same realms. I know now with my job, I deal with finance more than I deal with anybody. I'm talking all the time, because with HR and also finance, you've got the 2 key aspects, which is attendance. How often are these people there, and keeping up with their time. And then you've also got what normally comes in an offer letter, or at the beginning of everything of orientation, is how much these people are making. I've literally gone into situations where people did not know how much they were making because there was a lack of communication between different departments of when this person was supposed to start and how much they were supposed to be making.
So how important is it when someone starts? Most of your small business owners, the business owner himself is taking care of a lot of this. How important is it for them to just type out a quick letter that says your start date is this, right. your hourly rate is this, right. you're going to work?
It's extremely important, and it's very easy. What you can anything is accessible I hate to say it like this, but anything is accessible online. And what you should do is just find a sample, a free, and type that in to the space bar or whatever.
Microsoft Word template.
Yeah, just free sample offer letter template. It's that easy. And when you get that, you just change the wording. This person starts at this date, and you keep that. I can't tell you how important it is to document or have documentation for everything. Print off things, save things on your Google Drives or whatever it may be.
How important is it to have a paper copy and a hard copy?
You definitely should have a paper copy. I know that a lot of people say they associate the term CYA, which is cover your you know what. They incorporate or they associate CYA with doing dirty dealings. But one of my mentors, a young lady by the name of Sherry Julian, Sherry get better soon. She fell ill recently, but she always told me, print everything because computers crash, people lose stuff. And if you've at least got a copy somewhere, somehow, some way, access to it, you'll never be caught with your pants down.
Right. Well, I mean, that's a very true statement.
It's important. I know a lot of people rely on digital. We rely on computers. We rely on cell phones. We rely on email and things like that. But things can go wrong with those. So I always print out copies of everything, put it in files. Not only do I have the email, but if I need to reference back to it, then I've got that.
So I know in your capacity, you have like 500 employees that you help with.
Yeah.
Do you keep paper file for every one of those employees?
So there is a personnel file, and I have to prioritize. So if there's something extremely important, then I definitely take that and make copies of it, print off copies of it, just so we can have those.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Because you got a lot. You're dealing with a lot.
I deal with a lot, but I'm no stranger to it. I've been doing HR for almost 17 years now, and 600 is the max that I've been at. Actually, 700 is the max that I've had to kind of be responsible for. And in that capacity, I did benefits. I did everything: attendance, the hiring, the terminations, the step increases, the raises. Man, I did it all.
If you don't care, can you add a little more? I'm just kidding.
Add a little more as in, hey, let me tell you about the funniest HR story that I've ever had.
Okay, let's do that.
Funniest HR story I've ever had. This guy, he was working for me. He had been there for 3 years. He came in, he said his grandmother was sick and that she was extremely ill and he needed to take emergency leave. So we gave him emergency leave. All right. He said, she hadn't been feeling well. She's on her deathbed. So he had to take some time to go up there. Evidently, he was gone for the week, and then he said he needed to take 2 more weeks plus bereavement because she had passed away. All right. The guy leaves after like 6 months. He comes back to work for us eventually. Same story, same grandmother.
Bro, she done dead.
She died twice.
So grandmas do really have 9 lives.
Evidently.
All right. As we wrap up this big picture.
That's it. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming doing this.
Thank you for asking me. I love being here. I love being around these people, and I love being on the air.
I'm going to ask you one quick thing.
Yeah.
What's something nobody knows about you?
Something that nobody knows about me is that my favorite TV show of all time that I've seen every single episode of is Beverly Hills 90210.
We're out on that note. So thanks for joining us, Dee.
Appreciate it.
You the man.
And we're back. Thanks, Dee, for keeping my seat warm for me.
You have a seat warmer?
Dee kept it warm. I mean, it's kind of summertime. I don't know if you want a heat.
You need like a cool seat.
I do.
Do you know that cars now have heated and cool seats?
Yeah, that's like a super bougie thing.
It's awesome when you're like a large man like myself and like the lower back sweats.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so awesome.
Yeah, I would imagine that when you get out at like you're going to a client's or something, you don't want to look like sweaty.
Oh, that's the time of the year. This is the time of the year where I just think about doing something physical and I just start sweating.
I really don't like when I go out of my house at 8 in the morning and it's just like a sauna outside.
But you know what the best thing to do?
How do you say that word? Sauna.
Sauna.
In the UP they say swana.
Swana.
I don't know.
But you know what the best thing to do is when you're hot? Drink the Kool-Aid.
Woo! Drink the Kool-Aid. Mm-hmm.
So this is something that we have talked about.
We've talked about marketing and branding and stuff like that a little bit.
Which is very important.
For sure.
And how do you take your personal brand of yourself and mix it, match it, mesh it, like mull it together
mullet.
Mullet with your company brand.
Well, and is that important to do or not?
Should you do it?
Yeah. And I think definitely it depends a bit on what your company is, right? Of course. But I'm going to say yes. I'm going to vote yes.
I don't know if it's kind of like we talked about a few episodes ago with opening a TikTok account and making it relevant. I don't know of a time when you should not do that. Can you give me a time that's like, no, you should not mix personal and private together? Or personal and business together, I'm sorry.
I think sometimes, like, okay, let's say you... I was going to say if you're like a woman in a man's industry or a man in a woman's industry kind of thing, maybe... I feel like there might be a situation. I can't think of one off the top of my head. But I do think that the way that social media and the world is working is that people are more invested in the companies when they know more about you personally. The more you put out there, the more that you make your brand a bit about you. I think on social media that you'll get a lot more views if you're like talking to the camera than if you just post your products.
Gotcha. Let's go local.
Okay.
Who locally do you think does a great job at that?
Of showing themselves?
Yeah. I mean, I'll give you credit. I think you do a great job with you, and then Powered by Her, I think is a great, that's you. And then who else would you consider?
I
think of like Amber Flynn. Jared,
Mm-hmm.
she does a great job.
Amber Flynn, she kills it, and she really, puts so much of her personal self out there.
I think CG England does a great job as well.
I think CG does too. I was going to say her, but I feel like she's my go-to for a lot of things. But yeah, she definitely is like, I can wear these clothes in this situation. Is it more women? Can you think of a man?
I think Matt Phillips, Jewelry Emporium, a little bit. I think he does a fantastic job. I think Wesley Bray does a great job. You see a lot about his life, with his wife and kids. I think he does a fantastic job.
Jaden Flynn,
yes.
I think he's...
Zach Buckner.
Yep, Zach Buckner. And I think that sometimes in those situations, they are really living their brand. And...
How important is it, do you think you mentioned something, instead of like showing your brand but living your brand? Do you think that that's like too...
Yeah, and I struggle with that in a leadership position with the Biz Foundry. I live the Biz Foundry. That is...
It's who you are.
It's who I am. And so a lot of my Facebook is the Biz Foundry, is for the Biz Foundry, is it's for that audience. I have friends that I don't even know who they are because I just always hope they'll see something for the Biz Foundry and we can help them either become an entrepreneur or inspire them. And so yes. I live it. But I think that that's unrealistic expectations for everybody on our team to live the brand.
Correct. And that goes back to a few episodes ago when Zach Buckner was on the show and talking about how important it is if you can get people on your team who have an entrepreneurial mindset where they want to do things like that in your business. Mm-hmm. And I think, too, if you can have those people in your organization or in your company, it just helps it grow your brand even more because they're excited about your brand.
Yeah.
That's like a double whammy.
Well, and you mentioned Powered by Her, and that's a lot of what we're trying to do with Powered by Her is bring the women. There's so many women in this literal community of the Upper Cumberland. Right. And so we're trying to bring them into the Powered by Her community, and how can we all come together to kind of drive that shit forward?
Right.
Because they're all leaders, they're all driving either an organization or a business, and they've all, there's a lot of like-mindedness there. And so...
And you get that group together and you can get energy and you can feed off each other. I think that would just help grow your brand. And it goes back to networking and driving your brand forward, which I think is a huge component.
Well, and that kind of goes a little bit along the way of... I think it was with Anthony that you talked about a walking billboard.
Yeah. Is
when you can have people who are not necessarily making money from your product, but they believe in it enough that they are going to sell your product to others. That's huge. That walking billboard of just having people having your kind of local influencers around town that are going to really believe in what you're doing.
Let's talk about, that's a great segment. Like, let's just talk about local influencers.
Ooh, let's do that in another one. Let's save that for
all right.
Let's say that.
I was going down a rabbit hole there.
I think maybe that's a teaser for episode number 11 is local influencers. So everybody should tune in to see if their name makes the list.
Ooh. We could almost sell spots.
Yeah. Maybe
we're like entrepreneuring
now. You can bribe us if you see us on the street in the next couple of weeks.
Actually, if you let us bring us some food, we'll probably
I've been wanting some Ralph's Christmas cookies are out for July, and it's a little sad that I didn't get any. So
I don't think I'm allowed to eat those.
Probably not. Anthony would not be excited. So
I love it.
So anyway, I think showing people want to buy from people.
Well, and people want to buy from people who they see are real. They're not this like made up thing, or like you have problems, you have issues. You failed today. Like you sucked it up. People like to see that.
How often do you spend money with people because you like what they're doing? Or like I just bought some stickers for my 2021 planner. This is not pre-taped from 2 years ago, just in case people got confused. But for my
posting on Indeed is still up, by the way.
My 2021 planner, because I really like the business owner, I really like what she's doing, and so I wanted to support her business. And so there's things that it's like that's not necessarily something I want to be supportive of people in my community, because they show their personal. I know more. I'm invested in their life more than just somebody at Walmart or the Walmart brand.
I can say that I've gotten a lot. I've done this a lot more in the last year or so. Is people that I follow in my woodworking community, that they have things, or they sell shirts or whatever on their sites. Like I've gotten to where I will buy those a lot more, just because I feel like, oh man, they do such a great job, and I love following their channel, and I want to support their channel. Yeah. And it is more expensive, but I want to invest in them.
Are there any people that do like have man glitter? They do it on their Cricut. Somebody does like
no. Most of these are like I can't think of one. Most of them is like I'd have to see it. One of them has like a hand plane, and it's just like planing around, and like it's just things like that I think is neat.
Dad puns.
Dad puns.
Do you wear your T-shirt with your dad shoes?
I should have wore the dad shoes today. That might be something we work on the next episode.
Ooh,
the dad shoes. And that is a whole nother topic.
But a little bit of that
is branding.
Is your personal brand. And so people are invested.
People ask me about that.
Right. And people are invested into, I was wearing red, white, and blue the whole week of 4th of July. And so people were posting on the Biz Foundry page. People were seeing it. And so I think people do like, seeing the elements of our personal lives.
There may be a individual in our community. Do you know Darren Wilson?
I know who he is.
Okay. Do you know what his favorite holiday is?
No.
Oh, Christmas.
Okay.
I mean, he does a countdown like every few days. He's like, oh, it's only so many days till Christmas.
Okay.
And like,
yes.
He loves to be on the Christmas parade board, but when people see him, they're like, oh, Darren, how many days? Yeah. Like random people. He's like, I've heard people like know me, and they'll be like, how many days till Christmas? And I'll be in Kroger's, and they'll be like, so many days or whatever. So he doesn't know. But that's a brand. He's building his brand.
Similarly, CG loves the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah.
And she loves Hallmark movies, Hallmark Christmas movies. And so it's like a similar thing where she had a Hallmark movies T-shirt at the store last year and stuff. So people know. I have a feeling people may get the idea that I like the 4th of July.
I hope so.
So.
I think it's time for us to
cash the check.
Check out. Are we?
Boop, boop. I don't know.
We're not checking out the register. We're clocking out.
Lord, I don't know what you're. At the end of the day, are you gonna give me some statistics of something?
Give you some statistics that says.
Tell me over/unders, something like that. I don't know. I'm throwing you off.
Oh, this kind of. It goes back. This is so funny how these work out. It's a good Lord, I'm telling you. We just got done talking, Dee was on this episode, and we talked about HR and hiring. So this talks about hiring. What percentage of business owners said hiring qualified employees is their biggest challenge? And like we're talking, that's
And
something that's
when's
real.
this? Do we know when
This is 2019. So I mean,
Okay.
this is probably out of date now.
Right. No, I think the percentage of hiring qualified people is their biggest problem. 65.
Ooh, you were so close. 60%. It's pretty close, but I think that is a big challenge. Mm-hmm. What percentage?
Wait. I think, pause, sorry. I do think that if you have a good attitude, that maybe the qualifications aren't as important.
That could be true. Or if you have potential.
If you're trainable,
coachable, teachable.
Mm-hmm. But that takes a lot of the leadership to
be able to do that.
Yes.
What percentage of small business owners consider sales to be the most important role in a company's success?
85.
23%.
What's the biggest factor then?
Important. Well,
again, I want the family.
Well, I think you go back just because you have sales, but you have to get those customers. I think marketing could be another 25% or more. I think your product itself could be a percentage.
I just feel like that seems like the obvious one, so people would say that. But yeah, I do. I'd like this to be like a Family Feud type thing where we asked 100 people. These are the top 5 answers on the board.
Ooh, this is another good one.
Last one.
Wrapping it up right here. What percentage of small businesses use a CRM tool?
Ooh. Of all the businesses, I mean, some are old school. I would say low, like 22.
No, it's actually a little higher.
45.
It is 45%.
Wow. That's a lot more. That's good.
Yeah, but if you think about it, you have some of the older businesses I know people that still like to handwrite invoices.
Right. No, I would have, like I said, I guessed low because I think that that's a newer thing for people to track
how
their customers
and how they retention and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, it's time for us to clock out.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe,
hit the button,
share,
and,
comment.
Be a walking billboard. Tell a friend that you listen to Cashin The Check and let them know that they should too.
You've lost your mind. Hey, thank you. Shout out to Mark Farley, Jeff Brown for letting us do this. It's awesome. We get to go do this every day and help businesses out. Either it's in the Upper Cumberland, the state of Tennessee, or
the world.
We're going to be famous one day.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Peace out.